Let me ask you guys before this. I think I know the answer, which is going to get me kazooed or whatever, but a lot of people, listeners, people on Twitter, the Discord, whatever, they want to know if you guys have watched the Teddy Hart documentary and if you'd like to comment on it.
Not yet. I'm going to, though.
You're going to watch it. Okay. I said usually
unbelievable.
I said usually you stay away from that dark side of the ring, so I didn't know if you're going to watch it, because that's pretty much what it is, man.
Yeah. Vince was watching it, and he was tweeting about how it was like how crazy it is.
Konnan pops up in it for a few seconds.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're backstage at a show in 2012 or something, Konnan, and you're there.
Okay.
Well, I would like to say that I'm not going to watch it because I lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got never mind. I'm not going to spoil anything. Disco's going to watch it.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
No. They interviewed people you'd be surprised by, I think.
All right. So the opening segment of I'm going to read the review here. This is from who did the review on this? Jake Barnett from Pro Wrestling.
Wait, I'm sorry. One more thing, and I'll take this out. I'm just curious for myself. Did you spoke to Peacock about that, right, Konnan? Remember I forwarded you the email from the guy they wanted you to interview for the documentary?
I might have talked to him over the phone. I didn't
just weren't interested. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So the Dynamite opens and Regal's already standing in the ring. He said he asked the crowd if they wanted to hear from the new champion, Mr. Friedman, and said they would next week. I don't know why on earth. Okay, that right there. Let me read that line.
What a way to start the show, right?
Well, the
most important guy on the show is not going to be on.
And the first 30 seconds we're telling you he's not on the show this week.
Right.
Okay? And he's been one of the bigger draws.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be interested to see what this number is when it comes out.
Do you have the number?
No, we're not going to get it until Friday because it's a holiday. Because it's Thanksgiving. So, but yeah. So right off the bat, I'm going like, what on earth are they doing here, right?
Maybe my new Patreon for Brandon Thurston will give me the numbers. Let's see.
By the way, did you see MJF having back and forth with Conor McGregor and Patty Bimblett and stuff? Everything on that Twitter?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Go look at pull those
look
up.
It up, Joe. I'd like to hear that.
Right. Yep. So he said Mr. Freeman's on the set of a major motion picture would answer all their questions next week, and he mentioned an email they sent to Regal a few weeks ago that everyone would become privy to next week. Moxley's music played, and he stalked his way to the ring through the crowd. He mean-mugged Regal on the way to the ring and then stared him down from the apron. Then Bryan Danielson runs in and puts himself in between Regal and Moxley. And they had a shovey match until Danielson picked up a microphone, so he didn't know why Regal did what he did on Saturday, but they've all done bad things. He said Regal had a bad neck and 2 bleeds on his brain, so please don't hurt him. Moxley paced around the ring, and Bryan pleaded with him before slapping him. Danielson apologized and asked him to listen. He spoke about his dad going through the same kind of struggles that Moxley's gone through and explained the only person who helped him through that time was Regal. Bryan explained that because of Regal, he was able to understand his father and love him for the last 10 years of his life, and he asked Moxley to imagine someone helping his daughter to love him in spite of his troubles, and again asked Moxley to spare him because he loved him. Moxley shook with anger against the ropes and stared Danielson in the face. He grabbed the microphone from Danielson and told him to get out of the way. Moxley then walked up to Regal and looked at him. By the way, Regal is not backing down or showing any fear during this.
Right.
Okay? He called him
Lordship. I
didn't like it. Like I said, there's so much about this I didn't like. He called him Lordship and said he only wanted one thing from him, and that was to run away from him as far as he can and never come back. He then pointed over Regal's shoulders and told him to walk and keep on walking. And Regal turned around and walked away. And Moxley bent over and sighed with exhaustion. Bro, everybody on the internet talked about what a great segment this was. I said for the characters, this is not how I would have thought any of these characters would have acted in this segment. Like, number one, Regal should have been scared. Okay? Right. Number two, Moxley should have his crazy character that just got screwed and turned over. If he's like the Stone Cold character, there's no way he would have let him been talked down to try to at least get his hands on this guy. That's what I mean. What did you think of this? I thought that was
Joe. Can you take that down so I can see Disco talking?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys wanted to read this.
Yeah, we will when we're done.
Right. Yeah.
Go. Sorry. Go ahead.
So what'd you think of this segment?
Okay, before I say what I thought, did you see this, Joe?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm not as negative on it as some people were. I did like it. I think Moxley always performs well, and the Regal heel turn was probably for the best. I didn't really get into him being a babyface with those guys, so him and MJF could be a pretty cool combo. So we'll see where it goes, but I did like the segment.
Okay, so I hated this segment.
Yeah.
Number one, they've underutilized William Regal like most people. They've been hot-shotting for a while, and I was thinking, when are they going to hot-shot on this show? They did it right off the bat. Bryan Danielson begging for him not to hit him. sounded so fake, and the reason was because he loves Regal because he saved him because his dad was an alcoholic. Who gives a and then Regal just turned around and left. This was not a good way to start the show. I thought it buried Moxley a little bit, even though the people were really with him. I thought Brian came off disingenuous, and I thought it was not a good segment. Not to mention that in the first 30 seconds, which is kind of funny for Heat, you're telling people the person they showed up to see the most is not going to be on the show.
Right. Okay. So then that's the case from. It's funny because we're always critical about things, but I think I'm making good critical points here, right? From a storytelling standpoint, right? So everybody, like, to start off, everybody wants to know, like, from storyline purposes, okay, why did Regal turn on MJF?
Because he's a
and you don't get an answer. You get nothing here. You get, like, there's no explanation. The explanation is going to be next week when we read the email. Okay,
right.
So then they go. So also on the pay-per-view, Keith Lee and Strickland turn on each other. Okay, so now we go to a backstage segment where Renee Paquette asked Keith Lee where he stood with Swerve Strickland after Full Gear. Before he could speak, Swerve approached Lee, and they're both close together. They look like they're going to have a pretty good face because I like Swerve lately. He's been a very good character on the show.
Before you finish, let me just add this, and I love this line by Danielson. I don't know why he did that to you on Saturday, but you've done bad things too.
Right.
Okay.
Which is like, okay. So Swerve and Keith Lee are face to face and close shot on the camera. And before he can speak, Swerve puts his hand over the camera and said, "Let's go talk." So whatever explanation they're gonna have, okay, we're not gonna give you the conversation. We're gonna do it off camera. Okay, which is okay. So it's we got two angles that happen on the pay-per-view, and we're getting no explanation right off the bat from either angle, and that's the first 10 minutes of this show. Okay, what did you think about this? The way they did this.
So my thing is, here's the second angle in a row where you don't get questions answered, and maybe it was a good idea when you talked about it, but the execution was brutal because they asked Lee, what's going to happen, and then Swerve shows up, and he's like, I would mark my words. I would watch the
I would watch the words that come out of your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then let's go talk. And I was like, what? That was brutal.
This is
two segments in a row that I thought were not good.
Think about this. The one thing this company, doesn't do well at all is get any mileage out of your backstage segments, right?
Right.
Bro, this was a perfect example of two characters to narrate a story, they're facing, and like talk, which you want to hear these guys talk. And literally you're just, okay, we're going to talk in private. I'm like, that's so weird. I'm like, I don't know what they thought that was accomplishing, So then we do Orange Cassidy against Jake Hager, and of course Orange Cassidy goes over, and all the other guys are there, Rocky Romero and stuff and all that. To me, it's very weird. If you started picking up and watching AEW for like 3 weeks ago, and just started watching, you're probably looking at the results of these matches, going, why are the little guys beating the big guys all the time? Like literally all the time. Like, so remember we did the thing last week, Konnan, where Ricky Starks cut a 30-second promo because he's wrestling with Lance Archer on Rampage. Bro, he beat Lance Archer.
Yeah.
And it's just like the big guys are like jobbers on the show. It's pretty funny. So after the match, the Factory comes out and they surrounded the ring. And I don't know why they were. Marshall says Cassie didn't have a problem giving away the All-Atlantic title matches. Basically, I guess he wants a match. So when Julia Hart shows up on the ramp, and the House of Black, the lights go out, and then they come back on, and the House of Black hit the ring. I don't know if the lights went. The lights went out yet. So they come back on. House of Black hits the ring, beats up the baby faces, and then they look at each other and they beat up the heels and they beat up everybody. Then on the ramp they're beating up everybody, right? Then on the ramp he grabs the mic and he says, if you're a House of Black, please rise. And the lights went back out. So it's like, all right, we got the return and everything, and now we got like no explanation. It's like, why are they here? It's like we got no explanation. This is a good beating, I guess, because they lay their shit in. But it's like, okay, they're back. But all right, why? What are they going to do? They didn't explain anything, so we got to wait for that. What'd you think of that?
What do you think of this, Joe?
I didn't see this part. I didn't see this match.
Okay.
Okay, so the first off, great entrance, great songs. Orange Cassidy super over. This guy Jake is a good wrestler, and I like him.
Yeah.
But bro, they don't book him well, and the orange hat is goofy, and using the hat to try to
Right.
for comedy, and the finish really buried him because he went to pick up the hat and he got beat, much like what happened with Tozawa. That was brutal. Okay, then what are they called?
The Factory.
The Factory come out. Now, QT Marshall, who I think is a really good heel, because I've talked to him before, and he's very funny, and he got good ideas, and I might bring him to AAA next year to do something. I know he has heat. He hasn't really been booked in a good position, and I don't think you could find 4 bigger J-Brones if you looked. One of them is the Caveman Camarado. The other guy's some brother.
Aaron something, isn't it?
Who?
Aaron something, isn't he one of the...
Aaron Solo.
Aaron Solo.
Okay, Aaron Solo.
I know Cole Carter, Lee Johnson.
Right. Those guys are all J-Brones. They look like J-Brones. They come off as J-Brones, so it's hard for anybody to get invested into that group. And then the Factory came out, who I think looks cool as shit. Brody King, Malachi Black.
The House of Black.
Yeah. And Buddy Matthews, I think they're money. The chick, she does not impress me at all. They were very cool. So that was about the only cool thing about this thing. And that Cassidy, who was a guy who was over, and then I thought they forgot about him, and he's over again.
Right. So next was let me see here. Okay, so this is so Ethan Page comes out with Stokely Hathaway, and they're going to be wrestling Ricky Starks. And they just do their mic work. This is what I like about Ethan Page. So Ricky Starks, this was a good match. It's a little bit too long for the story they were telling because he didn't need 13 minutes. He could have done this in like 9 or 10. But he sold really good because he was all taped up and everything and all that. But Ethan Page, a lot of guys will do this, bro. A lot of guys, when they come out, when they're doing the job, it's like you can tell they're doing the job.
Right.
Ethan Page on the mic and everything cut a good promo. He was fired up and like he was doing the job here, but he did not sell it like that at all. Ricky Starks decided, well, I'm not going to do the forearms and everything. I'm going to do punches. They looked good. He looks like he should be throwing more punches and doing that because he's a smaller guy that's got some fire and looks like he can fight. So I would continue that. But yeah, he goes over and beats Ethan Page. And bro, 3 weeks ago I thought Page was going to be like a challenger for Moxley, but now I guess it's Moxley lost. It's like we don't need Ethan Page, So now I guess maybe they changed plans but he looked like he was the guy that was going to be winning this. But now he got beat by Ricky Starks. What do you think?
Well, I like the swerve they threw in this match, which they also threw in the Jake
Hager
match, because they had him come out with 2.0, who actually had a really good spot, and he also came out with 2.0 and something else they had during the match that made you think they were going to win. And here, Ricky Starks was covered from collarbone to waist in tape, and you were like, all right, they're going to use that as an injury for him to lose. And he really didn't sell the injury much when he was on offense. He did sell it when the other guy was beating him up. And this surprised me. I didn't think they were going to give it to Ricky. I love Ethan, but I also love Ricky, so I was happy with this.
All right, so now they go. This is hysterical too. All right, so we've had 3 angles that we want to kind of like advance storylines. We got no explanation, so now we get this. So Jade Cargill's backstage with the Baddies. The Baddies, maybe they've heard the criticism, but they all dress pretty hot in this. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so all were wearing sexy clothes, so they look good, right? So Jade Cargill was interviewed by Renee Paquette. All right, so. Like Renee asked her, she called Bow Wow a whack-ass rapper, and then she asked her for a comment, and she was, you know what I got to say about that? No comment. Bro, she's got an angle with Bow Wow. Cut a good promo on him that we can go viral and stuff and get stuff. But the explanation was no comment.
Well, the video, there is video of them confronting him backstage at a show or something that went semi-viral. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, I'm aware of that, Joe, but now she needs to make,
she shouldn't have said no comment. She shouldn't, not at all. That doesn't make any sense, yeah.
Mark Sterling comes out. She brings in Mark Sterling for some legal, I don't know what was the Mark Sterling reason to come out there? Like she wanted.
Oh, because he was going to give. She was suing Bow Wow or something.
She's
like
going to
that.
sue. Yeah, so he's got the legal counsel. So then at the end of the segment, Sterling hands the pad. This is 5 seconds, and the picture's going in like 5 seconds. Sterling goes, "Here, sign here," and then turns to Kiera Hogan, and she signs the contract. She goes, "Oh, that's you've been released from the Baddies. Your services are no longer required," and they just literally just cut away again, like the awkward out and stuff. And the segment was over, and the announcers didn't say, "Is Kiera Hogan out of it?" That was the end of the segment. So that was very. What did you think of that?
I just thought, out of the 3 girls, the only one that I see potential in is Kiera Hogan. The other girl, Layla Gray, I don't see nothing in her. And she doesn't need her. And then they brought back Velvet Cake, who I think sucks too.
Red Velvet.
Velvet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who I also think sucks. And I don't know why she's in that group. Jade needs to be alone. She's a star just standing there.
Right.
Let me tell you, you guys said you didn't see the pay-per-view, but and I think anybody with a little common sense knew this going in, but Jade versus Nyla Rose on Saturday was not good. Not good at all. And Konnan, do you think, AEW obviously tries to get some hip-hop influence in the show with people they've had come in for appearances, but do you think Jade versus Bow Wow is going to get any real attention outside of wrestling fans? Is he a bigger star than I'm aware of?
No.
Yeah.
But he will get some traction in the black community, which I'm sure they're trying to get black, they're trying to get African American viewers.
Right.
So next they do the okay, Cody, what do you think of this? Because I tweeted this and said I didn't see the pay-per-view, okay? But so they did the trios match on Sunday, okay? And the heels went over with who won that match, Joe?
The Elite lost.
Okay. So they bring the Elite back. They lost. They did the hammer spot. Okay. So then they announced, a best of 7 trios championship.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, what? I don't know. I think that is absolutely like you are not going to get like one single fan, like new fan, that is going to want to watch these guys wrestle each other every single week. And I think that's one of the most ridiculous. Like, I mean, what are they doing this for? Just so they can have the matches and Dave can talk about how great they are, and when the series is over, they go, well, 4 and 6 I think were the best ones, but two that was like bro, this is just like nerdy conversation for me.
Yeah, but I mean, compare and contrast. Best of 7 series have a long history in wrestling. Booker and Benoit and Magnum and Tully, like they've been something people wanted to watch before and successful. So, and this having those 6 guys wrestle, if they go 7 matches, that's good for their fans. They're gonna love that. So.
Well, it doesn't have a long history. Like only a couple people have done it,
right? And it's like in a 6-man trios. It's just bro. It's the things a spot. It's like if you see one of these spot fests, it's like you don't even see 6 more.
I think the idea is you're going to see 7 good matches.
Sure,
that's basically what they're saying.
Which I think is kind of lazy booking, to be honest with you. So
I think they're going to go 0-3, the Elite, and then come back and win 3, and then you'll get to the 7th.
I mean, whatever.
But what do you think about the in the match where they were kind of mocking?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So during the match, they're doing a lot of Punk references, like Kenny's biting the arm, he doesn't go to sleep, and the crowd.
One of the Bucks did the flip lariat and fell on his ass like Punk did when he slipped that time.
Yeah. So it's like so they're trolling Punk, they're trolling the fan. The crowd is all the crowd's f-bombing this whole show, and I don't know that that they don't drown the noise out on TBS and everything, but that's not like they got to cut down on the language. Like, if they want a new TV deal, they're going to realize, like, at some point, they go, well, we didn't like the language. That's a thing. I mean, we worked at Turner. They had standards and practices. So it's like, I don't know.
But how can you stop a crowd from saying this guy, that guy, whatever? It's how are you going to stop them?
So the end of you drown the crowd out.
Okay.
The audio, okay? So this was this finish. You got to explain this to me, right? So Matt Jackson tagged in. They set up for the Indie Taker, but Phoenix broke it up. He then dove on Nick Jackson and Meg on the floor. Matt landed a low blow on Pac. Then Mac pulled out a hammer. Okay, so the Matt Jackson's going to use a hammer. But Penta comes in behind him, and Penta has a hammer of his own. So Penta turns around and smashes Matt with the hammer, and Pac covered him and got the pin. After the match, Phoenix is mad at Penta. Okay, for using the hammer. Like, he didn't want to see that, wasn't happy about the time. Like, and I would be saying, like, They should have had a mic there and say, like, wait a second. He was going to hit me with a hammer.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, why are you mad at me? Like, you know, like, I don't know. I didn't like that. What did you think, Konnan?
What do you think of the match?
I fast forwarded through most. It's just spot fest, bro. Then they're doing all the Punk spots and everything. This is for their fans. Like
Right.
This is not my cup of tea. These matches are, you know, like they start off the match. He kneed him right in the face of V-Trigger. It looked like he knocked him out. It's like that should have been. That would have been an interesting finish.
What do you think, Joe?
I always like Kenny and the Bucks. I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. You put Phoenix and Pac and Penta in there, and they're always going to have good matches. But like Disco has said, maybe a 7-match series every Dynamite and Rampage is a little overkill. But I did like it, and I think Disco, they're just trying to tease some dissension between Phoenix and Penta, and that way it'll put the next match's result into question, that kind of.
Right.
Okay, I love this match. The fans were really, really, really hype. The Mexican fans were really hype because they're still hype about the soccer match.
Nice.
The match was great. I like all the little things that they did with Punk, the biting and the GTS and all that. But they better watch out because now Punk is probably going to get mad again and cut another promo on all of them and Tony for letting it happen. But either way, I could see shots being fired again. I thought this
maybe
was really,
they might do business.
Who knows?
Maybe they all might do business. They'd be good. Bro, that's the hottest thing they could do.
Right.
You know?
Right. And so that's their that, and the finish is just like, again, I think they're hot shotting. They don't, they wanted something to be controversial. I don't know why Penta would get mad that Phoenix was using the hammer, and I know that the hammer was given to him originally by Pac a couple weeks ago. And I just thought that finish was kind of stupid.
I thought it was funny when Don Callis in commentary said, "I would never dress like Alex Abrahantes."
Bro, what does that guy add to them?
I have no idea, but that
now he's got a shirt that says "Hype Man."
If I would have talked to Don before this match started, right, and he was going to be on commentary, I would have told him, dude, everything you say. Barry Abrahantes during what you're saying. It would have been
hilarious, yeah.
Just like a complete 15-minute burial on the guy, like for his part of the commentary would have been hysterical. But
yes.
So next, Renee Paquette's interviewing. They make an announcement that Thunder Rosa has to relinquish her championship. So now Jamie Hayter is the official new champion. Yeah, then Britt Baker grabbed the mic and started speaking for her and stuff, and then they go to the ring for their what do you call it?
Match.
Yeah, for their match. It's a 6-woman match with Hayter and Britt against Anna Jay and Tay and Nightingale and Sky Blue. All right,
no.
And Jamie Hayter and Britt win. And what did you think of this?
I just thought that I didn't know Hayter had won the belt, which I've been a Hayter fan for a while now, so I was happy about that. Again, Britt, takes all her TV time. She didn't let her talk, so I didn't like that. Then, of course, she has to go to ring with her. I don't know why.
She helped her win the belt Saturday, so they're like back in cahoots or whatever.
Or does she need to be in everything, bro? Does she need to be in everything?
Obviously, they're going to run it where she's just staying close to her, stay close to the belt or whatever. But
obviously, bro, it's just too much.
Yeah.
And then the match was, basically you had, what's this girl's name? Hayter, who can work. Who was the other girl that was with her?
Britt against Nightingale and Sky Blue and Anna Jay and Tay Mello.
Britt can work. Tay can work. Anna can't work. Sky Blues can't work. And the Willow needs help. Right. They should be on dark, all three of them.
Right.
There was a lot of ass in that match except for Britt.
That's true.
And to me, it wasn't that good of a match because you got 3 good workers who were working with 3 people that had to kind of carry.
Now, I'd like to see, Konnan, if you have time or any interest in going back to watch that Saturday pay-per-view, what you thought about Tony Storm and Hayter, because I thought they had a really good match, so I'd be interested to see what you thought. The other thing is, I had a brain fart, didn't even say this, but what do you think about the Elite trolling Punk? Do you think this is all, it's turning into a work and Punk's going to return when he's not injured? Or you think it's just them?
Oh, I don't know, but it doesn't look like a work to me. I think they're getting their last little digs in because they know it's going to piss them off.
Because publicly that day, Kenny tweeted or was in an interview or something and said, "Hey, we're never going to be able to talk about the fight. Just forget about Punk. It's over. Stop mentioning him, stuff like that. We're not going to answer the questions." And then that night they troll him. So I don't know.
Yeah. So backstage, Top Flight, Darius Martin, Dante Martin, FTR were interviewed together by Renee Paquette. Harwood told the Martins that he and Wheeler were very impressed with them and told them they hoped they would take over tag team wrestling the next decade. Darius thanked them for the nice words and then challenged him to a Ring of Honor title match on Friday's Rampage. FTR accepted the match was booked. That reads exactly like that thing played out. Bro, for FTR, I'm sorry. When these backstage segments, you got to turn the volume up at some point. Everything is like, oh, we're very respectful. Hey, guys. It's like there's no antagonism ever like in their backstage stuff. And they usually are the ones that get punked on the mic. Like the Guns come in and punk them on the mic. They need to start like, I don't know, start getting a little bit like angrier. Or they're not like their backstage work here, like these interviews they do, there's like zeros on a scale of 1 to 10. There's no character development out of them. They never get angry. They never, they just speak nice, and like they got a lot of issues there because they should be fighting for the titles. They got all the belts, and everything. They're like, I don't know why their shtick is so lame. They should be more cocky. They should be, they're kind of very respectful to the other guys. I don't get it. What do you think? Am I right or wrong?
This is what I've come to the conclusion. Number one, it's your typical Rampage promo. You got 30 seconds to sell this. It's very hard to sell something in 30 seconds. Number two, when they have done long promos, they've been pretty good. And they've done promos for me in AAA. And they'll say, how long should it be? And I go, as long as you want. You can curse. This is the outline. And they always knock it out of the park. I think when they have a good promo and they got time, they put time. When they're giving stuff and they're told you got 15 seconds, they're like, "Fuck it."
Right. So next we go to the ring and the Acclaimed come out and they're rap. He's doing his shtick. So they get in the ring and they're doing teasing their scissor me and stuff, everything and all
Right.
that. So they basically they start talking some smack about Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh, okay? And so they go backstage and Satnam Singh interrupts them. Jeff Jarrett interrupts them. So they keep their name out of their mouths. He calls them ass clowns. Billy Gunn got the video cut off, and then at the end they just scissor everybody and celebrate.
Right.
And I was like, if they're like the Acclaim need to they need when we talk about character development, it's like I want to advance. I want to know some more about you guys. I want to know, every week you're just coming out and like getting this big. It's like a house show pop. You're doing the thing and getting the crowd and doing the scissor me at the end. But it's like they're not saying anything. They cut they talked for like 30 seconds about Satnam Singh and Lethal. And I'm like, then Jeff Jarrett stole the segment. He came out and like basically called everybody asses and stuff and all that. So I don't know. I think they need to have some more like the mic time on this show, unless it's like Moxley or MJF. It's like nobody really says anything ever. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. What do you think of this, Joe?
I didn't see this segment.
Okay,
Right.
so
this is what I thought real quick. You're exactly right. It's almost like they come out to get a house show pop. They were probably one of the 3 most over things in the whole night, though, because they got a thunderous ovation.
Yeah.
If I were Billy Gunn, I would not be wearing my cap sideways like if you're 15 years old. That's just like, bro, come on, dude. You look like, remember that movie Steve Buscemi was in where he had like a skateboard?
Yeah.
And he was like the 50-year-old guy in high school.
Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, that one. Comes off corny. But the Acclaim is super over. It got a super huge pop. And, Chicago can be tricky. They'll turn on you, but they liked them. So it was good for whatever they were doing. That's really all I got to say.
Jericho versus Ishii for the Ring of Honor World Championship, and Ishii got no package,
No entrance music, nothing.
Nothing. They just bring him out and had the announcers talk about he was a former Ring of Honor TV title holder or something.
Well, the commentators.
I think he was TV champion, maybe.
They're assuming that way more people know about the stuff that has happened in Ring of Honor. Like Ring of Honor didn't draw any people. So it's like this kind of weird that they're trying to, I guess they are trying to sell this TV show, but trying to make this brand bigger than it is bringing the rest of the show down. because like Jericho's wrestling a guy that like, okay, he's wrestling Ishii, and like for your hardcore nerds, like, oh, this is a dream match. It's like, I know nothing about this guy. They basically went out there and chopped probably 60 chops each, right? Like this was just, it was hard to watch because Ishii was chopping Jericho in the chest. His chest started bleeding. So Jericho had like a bloody chest, and they were beating the piss out of each other and stuff. And they did they actually did this was good. I liked. Okay, they were doing the fighting spirit spot, you know, that I hate, where they just stand there and you hit me, I hit you. But Jericho finally hit him with one, and it dropped him, which you never see anybody do. And I was like, you know, and it looked like Jericho was surprised that he dropped him. I wonder if he actually tagged. He lit him up. You don't see? Did you? Well, you should watch that spot because Jericho looks like he does like he when Ishii drops. Jericho looks kind of confused, like there's a minute there's like, oh, did I nail him, or like what are you doing? So, but Jericho basically gives him the lion tamer, makes him tap, and then after the match, after Jericho's been in this 15-minute war and has been beat up, he goes up the ramp and he points at Ian Riccaboni, but there's a lot of distance in between the two of them. He's at the top of the ramp, and Riccaboni's the announce table. Jericho's just pointing at him. Claudio comes out and sucker punches Jericho turns around and sucker punches him and knocks him out. I was like, that was weird. What did you think about this?
Well, I thought that the commentators did a really good job of telling you who Ishii was, because you had no idea who he was. He looked like some hard-boiled egg that was in the middle of the ring. And, you know, and I remember when they used to be junior heavyweights, so they've known each other for a long time. Bro, he chopped his chest raw. I mean raw. Like you said, it was bleeding. It was physical. You know, the crowd loved that type of match. It was a good match. It was a good main event. It was a good physical match. And I put Jericho over 1 million times for this match. And then I thought it was very, very weird that at the very end, Claudio, to zero pop, comes and knocks him on his ass, and then they cut away.
Right. I didn't. That's like I said. Like, what did Jericho didn't cheat. He didn't like do anything. Like, it's like he beat the guy clean.
Right.
Like,
he threatened Riccaboni. That was it.
Yeah. You know. So I don't know. I did not like this match. It was hard to watch for me because I like Chris and them, and I'm thinking, you know, that Chris feels that he's in this kind of environment now with this fan base, and like this is the stuff that he has to do, and I'm not a fan of it because I think I see Chris Jericho as a WWE style performer, doing WWE style angles, doing WWE style interviews and stuff, everything. But now he's like an AEW guy, and he cusses a lot. He's doing the middle fingers. He's bleeding.
Yeah, it's like Japan Jericho was doing all that stuff.
Japan Jericho, right? Yeah. And I'm not a fan of Japan. You know, that's me. This is absolutely not my cup of tea. And and plus two, Ishii chops harder than Jericho.
Yeah. So
it didn't look good. Jericho giving him the chops because Jericho, you know, we're Americans. We don't try and kill the guy, you know. So when a guy's chopping you like Walter. I would have you remember the Scott Hall chops where you get the guy and you chop him down instead of across, right? I would have if I was Chris, I would have started lighting the guy up like that because that would have looked better, you know? The guy looked like he out chopped him, but Chris went over. So what'd you think?
I just told you.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Right. All right. So that's
hey,
that's review.
So to get back to the MJF and Patty and Connor stuff, the reason it started that you guys were asking about was MJF initially put up an Instagram video where he talked about how dangerous pro wrestling is, calling it even riskier than MMA. Pimblett and several other MMA fighters, such as Eddie Alvarez, commented on the video. Pimblett called MJF a clown with some expletives mixed in, and MJF went back at him with insults. On ESPN, MJF said, "I'm sick and tired of people talking about pro wrestling as if it's some stunt show. The fact of the matter is, Patty, the prima donna Pimblett, would not last 2 seconds in a professional wrestling ring with me, maybe not even one." So MJF also said, this was on Twitter, "This fat moon-shaped prick Will from Stranger Things looking dollar store Conor McGregor decided he needed to chirp up and say, oh, wrestling is fake. Let me tell you something. We are real fighters. They are prima donnas." And MJF also said, "Pro wrestling is a dangerous, dangerous sport, and there's no one more dangerous than MJF. I can assure you that when we come to London in 2023, if Patty shows his face, he's going to find out that a Scouser, which is a native or inhabitant of Liverpool, is no match for a Long Islander because I'm better than him, and he knows it." And so Connor, of course, saw this, and he retweeted and said, "A dollar store Connor is still worth millions. Let's go, young Patty Pim. Don't know who this other clown is," regarding MJF, in which MJF responded, "I'll the Connor clone up, and then I'll wipe my with the original. Stay in your lane, you roided up leprechaun. You can't hang with the AEW World Champion. # better than you.
What do you think about all that?
It's good. It's getting him promoted. Connor probably didn't know who he was. He does now, and maybe they can make an angle out of it.
Well, maybe they can because they obviously have the connection with the MMA.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they do something.
And Tony.
Well, bro, they've had George Masvidal's been on that show.
Right.
All the top team guys.
It's not. Yeah, well, what I'm saying, but it's not like you can't. Yeah, it's not like you can't get, top guys.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely good for him. But I think MJF. I wonder if MJF is just doing this all on his own, though.
Of course he is.
I think they'll definitely get Patty to do something, but it would be a real coup for AEW to get Connor on a pay-per-view or something, even though it would cost a lot, I'm sure. WWE's been wanting to work with Connor for a long time, so if Tony swooped in and got him, that would be a major coup. And good,
Thanks for that major info.
Good press coverage for AEW as well. You heard it here.
All right, so that's been our AEW and MJF review.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.